95% of League players struggle to answer this question when asked, where is the jungle? And when this question goes unanswered, every other decision you make ends up being unnecessarily risky. Not knowing this vital piece of info can be the end of your promos, or stop your win streak dead in its tracks. And sadly, by the end of this video, many of you are going to have to fight with the realization that you need to brush up on your basics to break past your elo ceiling. But luckily, I'm going to give you the foundation for how to solve this. The basics of jungle tracking. Things that you can do in every game, no matter the matchups, to stick a laser guided ward onto the enemy jungler and make him feel like his data is being harvested by Mark Zuckerberg every time he takes a shit. But wait, before we get to that, there is something we need to make sure you have under your belt. Map awareness. Jungle tracking involves you gathering information from the minimap and using that info to make better decisions. I could make a whole separate video on this topic, but that's not what we're here for. Chances are you need to look at the minimap more and your champion's ass less. Take a look at this video where eye tracking data for players of different levels was compared, and it's instantly obvious that high elo players spend a much larger amount of time looking for information around the minimap than you thirsty lower elo players. I mean, the Diamond 4 player's heat map is just a giant blob in the center of the screen, and the only excuse for that is they were playing certain champions. So before you learn anything from this video, you should make sure you're actually keeping track of the minimap enough and that you notice things like the enemy jungler showing up, or camp spawning, or your top laner going 0-10 while you vibe in the bot lane. This can be hard to figure out because, well, how do you notice something that you missed in game? Well, you don't. So review your replays every now and then and see how hard you yoinked map awareness that game. Chances are you probably missed some really important things on the minimap that led to ganks or objectives. And speaking of missing things, did you know that 92% of you can't find the subscribe button? It's the big red one. Throw me a sub and I'll unplug the enemy jungler's router. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's give you a few simple steps to make sure you don't lose track of the jungle. At the start of the game, always watch the enemy bot lane and check to see if they leashed or not. Then check the enemy top laner and see what he did. If the enemy bot lane shows up delayed to lane, chances are they helped the jungler with his first camp. If they are being sneaky and trying to pretend to leash, then the enemy top laner should be the one leashing, so that should give it away. Very few junglers like starting solo on camps, so you know where the enemy jungler started. Cool. Now all you have to do is think about what side of the map he's going to end up on. The first clear for every game of League is usually extremely predictable. So if he started on the bottom side, he's likely going to end up on the top side of the map, around the 3-minute mark. And remember, Scuttle Crab spawns at 3 minutes 15 seconds. So that's simple enough, and I can hear you rolling your eyes at me right now. Kind of rude, by the way. Fine, I hear you. Let's talk about how you can track the jungler after the first clear. Easiest way to do this is watching camp spawns. Red buff and blue buff are big camps that every jungler needs to grab, and they'll usually run their own spawn. But even the smaller camps can reveal where the enemy jungler is. Junglers usually clear from one side to another, so if their camps are only up on the bottom side of the map, chances are they're going to be clearing from bot while their top camps respawn. Okay, I hear you. This is simple stuff, but how consistently are you doing this in game? I wonder. The next step is to pay attention to how long ago you last saw the jungle. Keep a counter in your head. Using the fact that it takes 8 seconds to recall and 20 to 30 seconds to run out of base, you can generate a pretty clear idea of the places that the enemy jungler could be, and then use any other information to narrow that down. Okay, I get it. You already do that. Okay, well, how about watching what side the enemy mid laner is playing towards? See, there's actually a fundamental force that many scientists don't talk about called the League Indicator of General Mid Lane Attraction that states that mid laners will give up their jungler's position if threatened. Most people have never heard of Ligma before, but it's a very reliable way to tell where the enemy jungler is. Just keep an eye on how the enemy mid laner is playing, and especially on which side they are warding. But I still hear people typing saying, raisins, that's not enough. Even with all this info and an Atlas 5 421 SBIRS Geo5 military grade satellite, I still lose track of the enemy jungler. And I say, who asked? I'm just kidding. I'm here to try and help, so let's give it a shot. What you should be doing is trying to put all of these pieces together and realize that no one method is the answer. Rather, all these tricks together will paint a picture of the enemy jungler's tracks and have you feeling like Geralt chasing that juicy Striga bussy. If you found the enemy jungler but you can't seem to click on him, you should really check out this video.